I get a lot of questions after folks finish my 4-hour .NET MAUI training course right here on YouTube, which is what do I do next? Or how do I do this thing or that thing? Well, I want to continue that series that I've been doing, which is beginner series content for .NET MAUI, to go a little bit further when you start to build more complex applications. And today, specifically, I'm going to cover one of the most requested feature videos, which is how to swipe to do things. Swiping on a list or a collection or just anything. You can swipe left, right, up, down, all around, anything that you want with the built-in SwipeView. So let's go ahead and check it out. Hey everyone, I'm James, and right here on my YouTube channel, I put out tons of great .NET MAUI content, .NET content, Xamarin content, XAML content, MVVM content, all the content all the time. And I get a lot of questions. I read all of them right down below, specifically around what type of topics you want me to cover. Well, one of the things that many folks ask me to cover is some more of the complex views built into .NET MAUI. Now, some of these things are actually blended in my previous xamarin.forms video series, so you can actually go check out a lot of those videos and get a lot of coverage there. However, there are some new things in .NET MAUI, so I want to make a targeted video just for that. So today we're going to talk about swiping, and specifically like when you swipe to delete something or swipe and have different actions inside of a specific list or collection view. One cool part about .NET MAUI and the swipe view is that you can actually swipe on anything at any time. So you can have an image, for example, swipe left, right, down, all around. So let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so let's check out the coffee application. This is an application that we converted from xamarin.forms into .NET MAUI. So here we have a list of coffees and we have a bunch of other features that we have in our application. So you can go ahead and check this out. I have a whole brand new .NET MAUI specific repo just for this. So you don't have to go through the history, but if you want to watch some of those videos, they're all there, which is kind of nice. So we want to add some actions here. We actually have pulled a refresh on this collection view, but we might be really interested in adding a way to like favorite or delete these coffees. So here, let's go ahead and check it out. Here we can see we have this collection view. It's grouped, it's got a bunch of stuff going on to it, et cetera, et cetera. But the real thing that we want to care about is how we add the swipe functionality into this view. So here we can see that this data template is using this coffee card because it's reused throughout the application. If we go ahead and take a look at the coffee card, here, for example, we can see the grid, the frame, the stack layout, all the things inside of it, all these things right here. So what we want to do is wrap anything that we want to be swipeable with a swipe view. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to say swipe view and add that in there. Then we're just going to go ahead and drag this down. Perfect. So just like that, we've enabled swipe view on the coffee card itself. But now what we need to do is add some items. So what we're able to do is say swipe view dot, and then when I say items, we can see that there's bottom items, top items, right items, left items inside of here. So these are items that are going to show up on the right-hand side, the left-hand side, the top, or the bottom. So let's go ahead and add an item to the right-hand side over here. And this is going to be a list or a collection of items. So basically, you can add a bunch of things inside of here, but specifically we'll want to add a swipe items. You can think of that as like defining a list. Say, hey, I'm going to add a bunch of items into here, right? And specifically, we're going to add something called a swipe item. So there's right items, swipe item list, and swipe item. Now, this item has a bunch of different properties on it, right? So we have things like text here, for example. So I could say favorite. I could also come in and look at like background color, or there's icons. And you can think of these as predefined, basically predefined templated swipeable views. So there is a little bit of control, but not that much control. But if I add another item here and say text delete here, there we go. And now hit save. When I come back over here, we can see that I can now swipe, and I have both favorite and delete, which is quite cool. So I get those two views right inside there. And then when I tap on one, it closes. So that's kind of cool. So that's one thing that is very, very nice. Now I can customize these a little bit too. So if I wanted to on this favorite, I could say, let's say background color of pink. And then let's do an icon image source. And what do I have inside of here? I have a .NET bot. So .NET underscore bot.png and just hit save there. And now when I swipe out, we not only get our icon, our .NET Bot icon here, but I also get the pink background. And you can kind of notice that this sort of changed from a default button into just like a view. So the view itself is changing. So there's not a lot of functionality. Well, actually, there's kind of a lot of functionality built into the default one, but not a lot of customization. And we'll talk about custom swipe views here in a little bit. But this is pretty nice, right? We have our favorites, we have our delete, we have all this stuff set up here. Now, we can do some other things too. So for example, on these items, we could also adjust the mode. And we could say, is it going to execute or reveal? Now, the mode specifically here, execute or reveal, will determine what happens when the user swipes it out. The default is reveal. And what that means is that it will just reveal the icons and they can click on it. If you have one item and you want to like execute on swipe over, it will execute whatever items inside of there. The other thing we can do is change the swipe behavior on invoked. So this is cool. This is going to automatically close or remain open. So for example, right now it's closed. That's the default, but I could also say remain open. And now when I swipe over and I click on something, you see it remains open. So I can pragmatically then close it on demand, or I can have the user go and do this, right? So kind of up to you what you would like to do. Let's just go ahead and say close here. Auto is also sort of the default behavior that's there. So now when I tap on it, it closes automatically, which is quite nice. All right, so how do we at this point maybe add some other items? Maybe we want some items on the left-hand side. Well, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just gonna go ahead here and copy these right items, paste them down here, and then I'm going to change it to left items. Amazing. Hit save. And now we have the same ones over here, right? So we have favorite and then delete. So you can see how they get added into the list. So the first one that gets added is the farthest on the left or farthest on the right into the list there. So you can kind of decide that functionality right there. And then you could decide if you want the items on the left to remain open or close when you're going ahead and then adjusting those automatically. So kind of nice. So just like that, we have swipeable items inside of our application, which is kind of fantastic. Now, there are a few other cool things that you can do here. So specifically, we note that when we pull this out, they just kind of show up underneath it, right? But we could actually have it swipe and kind of move out if we want with it. So there's a mode here for iOS and Android, specifically in these platform specific namespaces. So platform configuration, Android specifics, and I'll link to documentation for this. But what this lets you do is come to your swipe view and say Android : swipe view dot, and you can say swipe transition mode. So you can do drag or reveal. So here I'm going to put drag on, hit save. And now we can see it drags out from the other side, right? So a little bit different type of functionality. So it drags out, which is quite cool, right? So that's kind of cool how it does that automatically for you. So you're sort of in control there of what you want. And of course you can do reveal, and then that's going to go ahead and now just reveal it when you go ahead and swipe. So some might be a little bit based on your, items that you're putting inside of it. If you're, this here, we have these kind of rounded corners or whatever. So you might not want to see it when it reveals, but maybe it is underneath it because you have a custom view inside of it, which we'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, you kind of get that nice functionality, which is really, really cool. All right, well, let's talk about that sort of custom functionality. And maybe we don't want these items inside of it. So what we can do, for example, here is instead of using these predefined swipe items, we might, for example, want to put in a custom view. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a swipe item view. And this basically is a swipe item that's templated. I can put anything inside of it. So I'm going to put a frame inside of here. I'm going to say background color of orange. And let's just do a width request of 100, a height request of 100. And then let's go ahead and do vertical options of center, and then a corner radius of 50. So it's a perfect circle, and a padding of 0. And then inside there, we'd want to do something like, I don't know, put a label, and I'll say text. And this is going to be a circle. All right. And then let's do horizontal center, vertical center, just like that. All right, I'm going to hit save here. Now let's see if the hot reload is gonna work for me. Oh, it is, cool, perfect. So we have this circle here. So just like that, right? So I have kind of this full control, right? Compared to this is just revealing, this is here. So this is nice because I may not want it to slide out. I have this custom view here that's sort of revealing underneath it. So this is kind of really, really nice. So what is nice here is that you can put anything inside of here, just like you saw in the swipe item view, and then you're totally good to go. So you can have as many of these swipe items as you want. So if I wanted to put another one in here, I could do that. Let me go ahead and index this in, format the XAML. And now we should get multiple circles. Really cool. Cool. All right. So now let's talk about something else that we could probably do. All right. Which is talking about actually interacting with these specific items. So let's just do something on this favorite. Right? Let's say we want to favorite something and we want to do a pop-up to let you know that you're favoriting it. So there's a few ways to do this. Specifically, every single swipe item has a method called invoke. And when you invoke something, what will happen is that it will call a method in the code behind. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So here's our application. And again, when I swipe out, I want to click on that favorite and go ahead and do something. So here, I'm going to, on my swipe item, say invoked. And here I have a method behind that I've created ahead of time. So an event handler, you can also have it create a new event handler for you. I'm just going to go ahead and add it there. Now, whenever that is clicked, it's going to call in to the code behind here on the page, right? So here is my view model. It's being passed in and dependency injected, but I have this swipe item. I know that it's going to be a swipe item as the sender. And then notice here that the binding context of that swipe item is my coffee. Because I'm inside of a collection view, or if you're inside of a list view, either one, each of the items inside of it is bound to the item inside of it, right? Not the view model, but the actual item inside the list. So here now, I'll just go ahead and grab the coffee and then I'll see, pop up a little dialog box here. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll add a little breakpoint here. And now when I swipe out, hit favorite, boom. We hit our breakpoint. We can see that we have a swipe item here with all of our different information. We're going to go ahead and grab our coffee, which this one here is the Kenya from Blue Bottle. And I'm going to go ahead and click on, and we see the pop-up. Boom, just like that, which is very cool. So now we're going ahead and we're getting that back, right? Now you might be saying, well, James, I don't want to invoke, a method in the code behind. What I really want to do is call into my view model stuff, right? I want to actually do some MVVM data binding, right? So let's say, for example, you want to just go in and erase this invoked, and I want to say command. There's a command and a command parameter. Now remember, in this case, right, we are bound to our coffee itself. So we have the image, name, roaster, but we also see here that I have a test command. If I go into my coffee, we can note that I have all the information for saving this into a database. Then I also have this relay command from the .NET Community Toolkit for MVVM that's going to go ahead and do a write test, for example, but it'll have all this information here. So let's now go ahead and save this. And I'm going to go ahead and swipe over, hit favorite. And now note that I have the same exact name, the image information, roaster information, ID information, and I'm calling into that automatically, which is quite cool. Awesome. So we can do code behind, we can bind to our model. You might be saying, James, why would I data bind to the model? I want to data bind to my view model. Oh, you're so clever. So you're correct. If I looked at that code behind again, we note that there is a binding context of my coffee equipment view model. Let's go ahead and see if we can do a pop-up from there, right? If we look at our coffee equipment view model, we can note that I actually did create a relay command. Now this is going to pass in the coffee and it's going to see if the coffee is null, return, else is going to pop up a dialog box. So this is inside of our view model. So how do we get access to that? Let's first add a breakpoint here. And the first thing that we would want to do is go ahead and say command parameter. What are we going to pass in? Well, it's actually quite easy. We can do binding dot. So this will pass the object into our command automatically. So it's going to pass in the coffee. Now what we'll need to do though, and it's a little bit more verbose, is we need to actually create a relative source binding to jump up a level. And if you've seen any of my MVVM videos, I've talked about this a little bit before, even in my .NET MAUI beginner series, this is in there too. We need to basically jump out of our list and up. And again, if you have a swipe view and swipe items that aren't in a list view or a collection view, doesn't really matter. You can just bind to your view model. But here we're binding to our model today. We want to jump up to our view model. So I can come in and say command. I'm going to say binding. And then I'm going to say source. And the source specifically will let me give it a different source type. And I'm going to say that this is a relative source here. And I can then give it an ancestor type. And that type is going to be, hey, .NET MAUI, go search up a level of binding context and go find this specific type somewhere. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give it an x:type. I'm going to say view models and specifically my coffee equipment view model. Okay. So that is my relative source data binding. Relative source, find this ancestor, go find it up the stack. Now, the last thing I need to do is give it a path, which is basically, what do you want me to call on this view model? That's going to be my favorite command. You don't get IntelliSense for that because these are very like loosely coupled here, so it doesn't really know about it. But rest assured, it will find it automatically through the power of data binding magic. Awesome. So now let's go ahead and see if this works as I pull out. Now, if I'm doing hot reload here, since I already had a binding context, it may not update. So let's go ahead and refresh this here and let's just see if that updates. So sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't when I'm updating the binding here, but this should now, hopefully, as I relaunch this, this should give us the update that we're looking for. Okay, so hot reload's coming up. And again, we have a breakpoint right here. So ideally, when I swipe out, hit favorite, there we go. Data binding is updated. We have our coffee that's being passed in, and that's going to go ahead and do a pop-up here, just like that. And now we have it all set up. All right, what else can I tell you about the swipe view? Well, the swipe view itself, this is kind of all you might really need to know. You can swipe anything, you can put it in a list, you can put it in a standalone object, and you're totally good to go. Well, I hope that you found this video really informative. I want to do more smaller videos that are a little bit tighter around a specific feature. So let me know what features you want me to cover. Now, Gerald over on his channel has covered tons of stuff. So head over to his channel too. I'll put a link up over there and at the end of the page because Gerald's always talking about crazy, awesome new features all the time. But of course, do it my way. If there's something that you're like, oh, this is great. Can you go a little bit deeper? Or Gerald doesn't cover that. Can you cover this? Let me know in the comments below what you want me to see covered right here on my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions about anything, check out the documentation or comments below. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And of course, jam that subscribe button if it's your first time here. I make all these videos in my spare time, so I really appreciate you being here and subscribing to the channel. I hope you have a great day and talk to you later.